Behind the huge tarps covering these buildings lies a so-called parallel society, at least according to the Danish government. In its view, it's a neighborhood where too many people with non-Western backgrounds live, people like Mohammed Aslam.
They've driven around 60% of all residents and their families out of here.
Until recently, Copenhagen's Mjølnerparken neighborhood was almost exclusively inhabited by immigrants. But after the passing of a new Danish law taking aim at so-called parallel societies, this will no longer be tolerated. The Responsible Housing Association must distribute the previous residents across other neighborhoods, while old apartments in Mjølnerparken are being renovated. 2 of the 4 apartment blocks have been sold to private investors.
The fact that my home country, Denmark, has passed such a discriminatory law against citizens like me is both shameful and disappointing.
Aslam, born in Pakistan, is the elected spokesperson for the residents and constantly has to console his distressed neighbors. He and his wife are allowed to stay in Mjølnerparken because he has lived here for over 35 years. But they also had to leave their apartment because of the renovations.
Do you see the second balcony from below? That's where we raised our children, where we sent them to school, and later to university.
The government, led by the Social Democrats, has identified around a dozen residential areas across the country that are now threatened with the same fate as Mjølnerparken for meeting their criteria of being a parallel society.
These are societies in which other values apply. Societies where people don't turn to the police, but want to solve problems in their own way, and where people don't work. These are mainly people with roots in the Middle East and North Africa. You have to be honest about that. It has nothing to do with racism. It's simply what the statistics tell us.
From gang violence, suspicion of terrorism, to drug dealing, Mjølnerparken is constantly in the headlines. But statistics show that less than 3% of its residents have a criminal record, according to Mohammed Aslam. For him, the accusations are just a pretext.
What have our apartments and buildings ever done to anyone? Are they also criminals?
With the support of Danish human rights activists, Mohammed Aslam and the other residents want to challenge the law on all levels, right up to the European courts. They believe their chances of being heard are good.
It's a violation of discrimination rights because you use it to target a certain group of people.
Simply because their address was here. Not because they had done anything wrong, or simply because they had the name that they had.
There have been several demonstrations in solidarity with Mjølnerparken residents, but so far, no nationwide outcry against the eviction. Quite the opposite. Polls show that the majority of Danes support the government's tough immigration policy.
Just look at Sweden, where people with different ethnic backgrounds are causing problems such as gang crime. I think something has to be done.
I think it's good when young adult, students and pensioners and people of different ethnic backgrounds come together in a neighborhood like this. But then you have to control it, not just allowing anyone to move in.
But for Mohammed Aslam, Mjølnerparken was never a parallel society. It was a housing project where a sense of community and cohesion prevailed.
The kids used to be able to walk from one courtyard to another. Everything was open. But now they're turning every block into a closed development.
Aslam has to pack his bags again. Another temporary apartment awaits him, since the one he has been assigned to still isn't ready, and because he can no longer afford the old one after the renovation.
The rent used to be around 800 euros. Now it's supposed to be 2,000. Terrible.
In Mjølnerparken, the movers will be coming and going many times in the coming months, and Mohammed Aslam's home will never be the same again.